Hello and welcome back. I'm Bushra from QA Milestone, and in this video, we'll be writing our first Cypress test. And we'll also be discussing the Cypress project structure. Okay, so the first folder that we have under Cypress folder is Fixtures. This folder is used to hold external pieces of static data that can be used by our test. They can be data pool files holding our test data, or files to be uploaded, or even files used to write something into by the test. You get the idea. Next, we have the integration folder. It does all the heavy lifting. All the test files are located here. The files have .js extension because they are JavaScript files. And .spec is just a naming convention that comes from BTD. Then next we have plugins folder. It contains index.js file which can be used to load plugins. And then we have support folder. It contains two files, commands.js and index.js. Index.js is used to store global configuration and behaviors that modify Cypress. This file is loaded automatically before your test files. And commands.js is used to create custom commands and overwrite existing commands. We would be working with each of these folders as we proceed, but not in this video. And then we also have cypress.json. This is located in the project root folder. This is used to store the project configurations like base URL, port, environment, and so on. Okay, so once we're clear with this, let's now go ahead and look at the scenario we would be automating. Well, let's just start with good old login page. We will be using Conduit as our demo application. It is a Medium clone. You can post articles, comment, like, use tags, follow authors, and things of that sort. Go ahead and sign up on the site using the sign up here. I've already signed up. Okay, so now it's time to write our first test in Cypress. In the integration folder, let's just delete this and we'll create a new folder. Let's call it QAM. Now we'll create a spec file. Now the first thing that we need to do is add a / directive to see IntelliSense when typing a Cypress command or assertion. This will turn the IntelliSense for this file, and you'll have to do this for each spec file. A better approach would be to create a jsconfig.json file that's created in the root folder. Here we have included Cypress module and the test folders. Let's save it. So now we don't need this. As we have already discussed, Cypress uses Mocha test framework, and so we use describe and it blocks to write and manage our test. If you're not familiar with Mocha or Chai, you can read the basics here. And to give you a basic idea, describe is used to hold a collection of tests, and it function represents an individual test. So let's start. Now, the first step is to launch the application. cy.visit is the command which will launch a web application. Now we have the IntelliSense here. This takes the web URL. So we'll pass this. The next step is to find the email address text box and enter an email address in it. For that, let's inspect it. Well, I don't think that's a unique class. So let's just pick type equals email. Now the command to find an element is cy.get. This will look for an element with the properties that we provide. So we'll write input type equals email. After we have this element, we need to type into it. For that, we can simply append this with .type and pass the text we would like to type into this. For me, it's this. This forms a chain of commands. cy.get will return an element and .type would type into that element. Now let's do the same thing for password. cy.get. Let's inspect this quickly. So we have type equals password. .type, and you need to specify the password. Now once we have entered the email and the password, we need to hit the sign in button. Let's inspect it. So it has a class btn. Let's take it for now. cy.get btn. Dot is for class name and hash is for ID. So we are using class name here. So now this class isn't very good. There could be multiple buttons with the same class. And so what we can do to identify it uniquely is to use a command called contains. .contains. Contains looks for the matching text in an element. So the text we have here is sign in. So cy.get would bring all the elements with class btn, and then the contains command would filter them down to only those elements with class btn and whose text is sign in. And now that we have our desired element, let's click on it using guess what? .click. So there we have our first test ready. Let's go ahead and run this. Just save this, go to the terminal, new terminal, and we'll launch the Cypress GUI. So that's our test. Click on it. Congratulations, your first Cypress test results are there. But there's one very essential part of writing test that we didn't use. That is assertions. We have no verification points in our test. But relax. Even when we have not written any assertion in our test, some of the Cypress commands have built-in assertions. Like, let's go back to our script. Like cy.visit expects the page to send HTML content with 200 status code. And cy.get expects element to eventually exist in the DOM. Dot contains expect the element with content to eventually exist in the DOM. And dot click expects the element to eventually be in an actionable state. Okay, so let's say we need to verify that the sign in button exists before we proceed and click on it. So we'll write should be visible. And that's it. Let's save it. And our test has started running on its own. And our assertion passed. So congratulations again. I hope you enjoyed writing your first Cypress test. In the next video, we'll learn advanced commands